Many people deal with weight regain after weight loss surgery, and it's important to know that there's many reasons of why this might happen. So for weight loss surgery, one of the reasons people might experience weight regain is because actually at the beginning of their journey, they have unrealistic expectations of what will happen to their weight after surgery. People undergo surgery and sometimes they think that surgery is a magic pill and it will fix everything. And we know now that that's not actually the case. Surgery is not a quick fix and it is not a magic pill. It takes lifelong commitment to diet and exercise to help maintain that weight loss over time. Many people think if I do A, I will always get B. So you can think of if I undergo surgery, I will always reach this weight. And that's not always the case. So it's important to know that surgery takes a lot of work to get to your goal weight. Many people go online or they'll, hear stories about people who have undergone weight loss surgery who have lost hundreds of pounds, and they'll assume that that will happen for them as well. And you have to know that there is so much more that goes into that, and it's not always the case for most people. A lot of people are so focused on the number on the scale that they forget to think about the other successes that they've had outside of the scale. So, for instance, taking less medication, sleeping better, moving better, feeling more energized. There are so many other great benefits of surgery outside of just what you weigh on the scale. Another reason people might struggle with weight regain after weight loss surgery is a lack of commitment to lifestyle changes. And this covers a few different areas. First of which would be not committing to meal planning or prepping your food or just not having the proper food selection available to you. Many people think that they can still continue to eat the same foods they're eating before surgery, but in a smaller amount after surgery without realizing that even those small amounts of food can often have way more calories than our body needs. It's important to also think of physical activity and your movement throughout the day. Do you mostly sit in front of a computer? Are you walking at all? What is your movement and physical activity like? And then finally, it's the mental health aspect of it. Do you have people you can lean on when you need support? Do you attend bariatric support group meetings? All of these things put together really show a commitment towards lifestyle changes. At the beginning of everyone's bariatric journey, especially with our program, we spend quite a bit of time educating people on our nutrition recommendations and requirements. Some people notice weight regain if they've slowly started to increase their portion sizes. Sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. Or by adding in extra condiments that add calories for not a lot of volume. So, for instance, adding dressings, dips, butters, oils to foods, they can add extra calories without a lot of fullness. And so, by adding these on, you'll notice that sometimes weight regain can happen. This is a really great example of that. So we have two plates that look very, very similar, but there are slight differences that actually make the second plate on the right double in the amount of calories. So you'll see that there's a little bit more egg, there's a little bit more avocado, and there's a little bit of peanut butter on the side. But even those slight changes have increased the calories to double. Here's another really good example. These plates, again, look very similar, but if we take a closer look, we can see a little bit of the differences. So the plate on the right has a little bit more hummus. You have a quarter of an avocado, some more chicken, some more beans. So the portion size is just slightly bigger, but you can see that there's a pretty significant jump in the calories without so much of a volume change. So this is what's really important to consider when you make your meals or when you're prepping is what is my serving size and am I following the right protocols? Nighttime snacking is very, very common. When work is over, the kids go to bed, everything kind of slows down. This is usually when people struggle with some snacking. And These foods often add additional calories on top of the day. A lot of people like to snack on nuts, seeds, peanut butter, popcorn, pretzels, crackers, or even sweet items. Most of the time with the nighttime snacking is people eating slider foods. So, slider foods are foods that essentially slide through our digestive tract. So, they don't give us the feeling of fullness. They're digested very, very quickly. And so, if we never feel full from them, then we will continuously eat them. So, that's things like popcorn, chips, crackers, pretzels. They're just digested so fast. So we really want to do our best to avoid nighttime snacking, but also avoid some of those slider foods. We get this comment or this question a lot of, I don't eat after this certain time because I will gain weight. I think it's important to know that calories don't know the time of day. So when we talk about night eating, it's not necessarily that people are eating after 9 o'clock, it's what they choose to eat. So you can see with these pieces of bread that at 8 a.m. and at 6 p.m., they still all have 110 calories. So if you're hungry at 10 p.m. and you have an apple, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good, healthy, low calorie snack to have before bed. But usually at 10 p.m., people aren't really craving or they really don't want an apple. And so when we talk about nighttime eating leading to weight regain, it's often because the foods people choose at night are usually very high calorie for a small volume. So it's snack foods, it's desserts, it's those slider foods that we had mentioned earlier. So, really, the main point is to avoid these types of food, not only at 10 o'clock, but really throughout the rest of the day. A lot of people have certain days of the week where they allow themselves to have a cheat day or a cheat meal, and they don't really realize that sometimes these calories can work against the progress. So, if we see in this image here, Monday through Friday, this person is having a very balanced, healthy diet. But then when they get to the weekend, they let loose a little and they kind of eat whatever they want without realizing that just those 2 days can work against their progress and sometimes can even lead to weight regain. Another topic that comes up quite a bit, and we talk quite a bit about it, is emotional eating. So, a lot of people think with surgery, it'll fix their emotional eating triggers. And you have to remember, surgery is on the stomach and not the brain. So, if people find that they reach for food when they're stressed or anxious or tired or even bored, they're still going to have those emotions after surgery. And so, figuring out a good coping skill when you are bored or when you are stressed is crucial. So you can see in this image, I'm happy, I'm upset, I'm stressed, I'm bored, it's a Monday, or I'm lonely. All of these reasons oftentimes can trigger people to eat foods that they wouldn't normally eat. Weight regain can also happen because of mindless eating. Mindless eating is when you're eating in front of the TV, you're doing your work and you're eating, you're playing on your phone and eating at the same time. So your brain is distracted doing something else and not focusing on how much food that you're currently eating. Another topic pretty similar to mindless eating, but people struggle with is grazing. So, grazing is simply eating too frequently. So, every half hour, every hour, you're snacking on something or grabbing something, and it's easily digested and it's not really making you feel full because you're not really sitting down to have a balanced meal. Grazing is eating too frequently, but believe it or not, skipping meals can also lead to weight regain. And I'll explain why. Here's an example food log of how that can happen. So, breakfast happens, but people are too busy getting their kids to school and driving to work, so they don't have time to make breakfast. They're busy at work, so they skip their snack and they skip lunch. And then on the way home, they're so hungry, but they don't have a snack on them. And then they get to dinner and they're so ravenously hungry that they can overeat their daily calories in the dinner and the snack foods that happen later on in the evening. This can also happen where someone eats during the beginning of the day, but then they skip meals throughout the rest of the day. The point is you want to manage your hunger by eating every 2 to 3 hours and making sure that you eat something that has a lot of protein in it and that will keep you full for longer. I mentioned this earlier, but it's really important to take note of how much you move throughout the day. We all sit in front of our computer on our cell phones, and our lifestyles lately are very sedentary. And the more you move, the more calories you burn, and the less likely you will be to experience drastic weight gain after surgery. It's very important to have an exercise routine both before and after surgery. And that includes cardiovascular exercises and then also training your muscles. So, the more muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolism will be. So, that's trying to lift light weights or use resistance bands or try to maintain as much muscle mass as you can because that will help with weight. There are also so many amazing options and resources online. There are great free exercise videos at any level, so beginner to advanced, cardio to weightlifting to using your own body weights. I highly recommend Googling or figuring out some exercise videos that you might like to get you started. And if you're looking for a good place to start, walking is such an underestimated form of exercise. It's lower impact, it can be relaxing. Just put on your jams and go for a walk outside or on your treadmill if you have a show on. Walking is a really, really good form of cardiovascular work. And really, the goal is 30 to 60 minutes a day. And you don't have to do that all at once. It could be 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the afternoon to start, and then increasing it from there. Lastly, another reason why some people may struggle with weight regain after weight loss surgery is they're not following up with their healthcare team. So that's their doctors, their dietitians, or the people that have supported them from the beginning. Lastly, it's important to know that surgery is just the tool to help you reach your goals. Weight maintenance takes a lifelong commitment. It takes commitment to diet, it takes commitment to exercise. And it also takes commitment to the why. So, the why you're choosing certain foods, or why you're eating, or why you lean on certain foods to cope. That's probably one of the most important things when it comes to weight loss, weight maintenance, or weight regain.